painted at Ages. During the start of New York Fashion Week, what I always love to do is to sketch out some of the looks that I really like for a few designers that I'm watching. And this year I got to sketch a few looks from ALTUZARRA. I always feel that the collections they put out are really sort of very romantic and very, you know, the styling is almost very fine arts like. So I sketched out a few pictures, as you can see here. A few more. Let me share actually. Let me see. Here's another one. I'll put side-by-side comparisons with the actual image so you can see. Some others. A few more. And I think that's probably it for the most part. I really want to try to work on this one a little bit. Well, I thought it might be nice for a change to go through some of my vintage patterns. I have quite a few actually, many bags filled. But these are just a few favorites that I have, and I have some plans for a few of these, so I thought it might be nice to talk through some of them at least. As for where the patterns come from, you can really find vintage patterns just about anywhere. I would say you could look in your local consignment shops, local thrift stores, estate sales. If you know some home sewists, perhaps they have some that they're not using. Facebook Marketplace is also a really great resource, as well as Etsy, of course, and eBay. Um, Really, some of the things that I love about vintage patterns is you can really tell, especially what decade you're looking at based off of the type of fashion illustration seen. For instance, this pattern, I believe it was my grandmother's, and it looks very, very 80s to me. You can really tell from the way that her makeup is styled, even the blush placement, her hair. This is just really beautifully done. For those who don't know, I studied fashion illustration in college, so these types of things really appeal to me. But yeah, you can definitely see the difference in decade. This to me screams sort of 60s. You can tell by the hairstyles, late 50s, 60s, very Jackie O, very kind of like Mad Men. But in any case, this was a really nice pattern that I found from my grandmother's. When she passed, we went through all of her patterns. She made dresses professionally, and back home in her country, she designed wedding dresses as well. This one, I keep forgetting what the colors stand for on the backs of the envelopes. They're definitely indication of difficulty. I know the green is like easy, but is the purple advanced? I'm not sure. In any case, I really love this sort of like single-breasted raglan sleeve coat with like I don't think it's double face finish, but maybe it's sort of like a top stitch detail. I feel like I would even make this, or attempt to make it at least, even in the springtime. Look at her little Oxfords. They're so cute. With like a lightweight cotton twill. Or maybe for the fall, something like, even like something like a mohair blend or a gabardine. I really love like actual suiting for coats, especially because we're seeing now a lot more like formal coats, but in a lighter weight suiting. So it's like almost like a jacket feel. Yeah, so there's that. This pattern here is one that I got fairly recently. After seeing all of the shows by like ALTUZARRA, most recently Calvin Klein, a lot of these shows are using like very vintage styled pillbox hats or berets. Specifically this one right here. This one, it feels like, let's take a look at the back. Yeah, this is it right here. Let's see. Yeah, I believe this is it. But there is one hat that I saw in the Calvin Klein Fall Winter 25-26 show, where she is wearing a hat that looks like a cross between like a boat hat, like something like you'd find a sailor wear, or a beret, and it looks like these merged. So I think I'm going to explore trying to make this. And I also thought about this guy as well. So we'll see. Keep your eyes on the horizon for that one. Honestly, a lot of these that I purchased, I purchased them when I wasn't really very confident in sewing. Not especially confident now, but I definitely have a lot of motivation to try at least. This was one of my grandmother's patterns. It's this beautiful vest. It looks fairly straightforward. I was thinking of maybe even doing this in something very, very, very lightweight, and maybe inserting lace patches here and there. Maybe like something like a black cotton voile with some like black crochet lace or like doily, a vintage doily, something like that. Let's see. Yeah, it says you can use, let's see, soft or crisp fabrics such as linen, poplin, gabardine, shantung, silk linen. Yeah, so I think that that might be doable for this style. I think if you were to ask me what my favorite show from New York Fashion Week was, without hesitation, I would have to say Calvin Klein collection. I know there was a lot of buzz around Veronica Leone, the new creative director, the first ever female creative director of Calvin Klein, and a lot of hopes that she would be able to bring the brand back to its former glory, or really even hopes that she'd just help it to ascend to new heights. I was a little bit skeptical. A lot of the times we see new people take over brands or become appointed as creative director over heritage brands, and the feeling is you're not really able to capture that same feeling, that same sensibility. But when I saw it, immediately I knew that it was just right. It was so well done. The styling was impeccable. The color palette was just right. There were a lot of muted tones, beautiful, very, very dusky roses, some very sort of muted grays, muted browns, a lot of chocolate browns. There was a beautiful sort of entire sun-bleached blue denim look, very sort of Parisian workwear inspired, which I really loved. I think hands down my favorite look from the collection was this very beautiful cream look. Even the styling was impeccable. The model, the proportions were just right. It was wonderfully oversized, but not tremendously so. The model was completely barefaced, apart from sort of a very, very pale pink, which really brought out the sort of chocolatey tones of her eyes and her hair. She was wearing this little, almost like nautical boater hat, sort of like a cross between like a nautical hat and like a beret, which we're seeing a lot of on the runways these days, a lot of hats, which is pretty exciting. And this just beautiful cream color throughout the hat and the coat itself. It's a vintage sort of MAC silhouette. And these like very oversized suede shoes with like very bulbous rubber soles, kind of fun. Very daring, I'd say, but not pushing the envelope too much. I think that what I would say most is the collection just really made me really excited to wear my own clothes, and I think that apart from my three style words being classic, sculptural / masculine, as well as delicate, I was seeing all of those words so just wonderfully intertwined and balanced throughout the whole collection. So it just felt like, things that I already had styled in really interesting ways. So I think for once it was really exciting to see myself almost in an entire collection. Not that it was strictly made for me, of course, but I mean, I think and I hope that a lot of people can understand that sentiment. I think that the mark of a true craftsman is helping you to project and see yourself in the collection. The clothes are built around people's lives and not vice versa. It's not as if they're wearing wearable art, but the clothes are already taking them to the places that they're going anyway, to the office, to dinner, perhaps an event at night. Everything is just wonderfully understated and very, very thoughtfully done. Yeah, no notes, super inspiring, wonderful color palette. I can't wait to style looks from my own closet. based off of the show, for sure.